Good morning, good afternoon, guys. We're back for a special edition of Geek Tavern this time. As always, it's me, Sean. I'm joined by Mike.
Yo.
And Aaron.
What's so special about this one?
Oh, it's a...
Oh! Well, that is special.
That is special.
All right, so who's fighting who here?
It's a death battle, if you will. But no, this is our retrospective on Mandalorian Season 2. It'll be released separately from our regular installments of things, so...
Yeah, I don't know if you have to say that.
Well,
they'll know
when
they're listening to it and it's not attached to anything else.
Listen, sometimes people need spoon-fed this. But yeah.
And we just lost 6 subscribers.
And that's all of them.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so now, what has it been? A week? 2 weeks since?
Friday will be 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, since the Mandalorian.
But we're getting
Season 2
gallery
ended.
stuff now.
Yeah,
so.
and
Yeah,
it's the beginning of the gallery.
I
So
did watch episode 1 of that.
yeah, I feel like it'll give us a little bit more to delve into.
Yeah.
But we figured we mentioned this in our main podcast, so we'd come back and talk about our thoughts on each individual episode. And I don't know if we'll want to rate them individually or if we're just going to rate the whole thing as the whole season as a whole. Or not, but it's really up to. But yeah, I guess we'll just jump right into it. Start with episode 1, directed by Jon Favreau, chapter
9, The Marshal.
Yep. This one's still probably one of my favorite episodes.
It is one of my favorites.
I'd say it's probably my second favorite episode of the season.
I'm a big fan of John's directing style, and I remember saying to you when we were watching it that like there were certain things that were happening where I was like, "Hey, this feels like Iron Man." Like, and especially when Cobb Vanth went back into Mos Pelgo to retake it after getting Boba Fett's armor. Like, he walked through like Tony did in that wherever he was in the Middle East, where he's just like shooting rockets and tanks and just like smashing these guys against the wall and everything. Like, it felt like Iron Man. It was a dude who just got a suit of armor and went to retake what was his. Yeah,
I really like Cobb Vanth. I think that he's probably the best a new character. Obviously, the pre-existing characters from Clone Wars, I'm not counting them as new characters, but I think that
he's technically a
he is a pre-existing character, but
we've never seen him.
The first time seeing him in any media.
Yeah.
I really liked him a lot. Especially Timothy Olyphant is great. So
I was really surprised he didn't come back.
Yeah, me too. I was expecting him to show up in the events leading up to it by the what is it? The episode with Miggs Mayfeld in it. I figured he wasn't going to be in the finale, but I was really hoping he would.
Right.
There's still a chance he'll show up.
Oh, he'll show up again, I'm sure.
He'll have to, I think.
And that's the episode where we got the long boy.
Yeah.
Which we found out from Gallery is not a worm like we kind of thought he was. They have 8 appendages like in their midsection that help propel them like through the sand. Like they do have like a dragon like form, but like they said, as the older it gets, the more like appendages it grows, like to help it move. So like it has like 8 limbs, I think.
Yeah. And they said that they just kept scaling it up so that it looked menacing, because it's fucking huge.
They said that because like they said every time they scaled it up, John's like, nah, how about make it bigger? Like nah, it still doesn't look like intimidating. Make it bigger. And they said its final stage that they got it scaled up is like 600 feet long.
Wow.
I think is how long they said it was. Like, it is enormous.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, so the biggest takeaway from this episode that got us all on board, obviously, was the final shot.
Yeah.
With
teasing Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And we looked like such idiots in our one podcast because we're like, oh, he can't possibly come back. When the following day, the episode airs before our podcast is released, and that's the episode.
I mean, we made it clear that we discussed that prior to that episode.
Yeah. But I remember like us saying like, well, it hit, they'll do something eventually with him, but we won't see it in Mandalorian.
Yeah, because I thought, and we're not to that episode yet. We'll get into that. Get into that.
Yeah,
later.
we'll talk more about Boba Fett as we move along.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
So did we want to rate each one? Or?
yeah, we're gonna rate each episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked a lot going back. I mean, obviously it's a Tatooine episode, so like I like the
There's
sand.
a lot of nostalgia.
Yeah, there is nostalgia there.
Tusken Raiders.
Tusken
proved
Raiders
to actually be really good characters.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I liked Din having to translate the Tusken Raiders with
Sign language.
yeah, and with Timothy Oliphant's character, and I like the struggle there because they're like, well, they like are raiding us, so we're killing them, and they're like at odds with each other, but they have to coexist to take down this fucking monster of a creature in order to survive, if either of them want to survive. So, like, there's the scene where they're like getting the bombs ready, and the one Tusken Raider drops it, and the one guy from Mos Pelgos is like, "What are you trying to do? You trying to kill us?" And Cobb Vanth's like, "Whoa! They're just trying to help." Like, I like that.
Yeah, I like that we basically got sympathetic for the Sand People.
When we've always viewed them as just kind of monsters.
Yeah, just monsters and
well, they did kill Anakin's mom.
Yeah, well,
so
they were teasing the sympathy of them in the first season, wherever Din was like, this is their home, and whenever it was the Gunslinger episode.
Oh yeah,
and he's like, well, they view you as trespassers, you know?
Yeah, but like thinking on it, like they did a good job with making them actually like characters that you cared about, because we see the Tusken Raiders beat the holy hell out of Luke, nearly kill him, nearly kill Anakin, and kill a couple different pod racers, and then they take his mom and like torture her until she dies. I'm like, I guess you can do a good job at redeeming them, but they are still just monsters.
Well, yeah, I think that's still kind of the thing, because of, you know, as we see in the episode, multiple of them get eaten by the Great Dragon.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're on their side a little bit, but also we don't, like, none of the villagers get eaten. It's only
that's true.
it's only the Tusken Raiders that get eaten. So at the same time, it's like, well, that's just kind of how it shakes out.
I'd be very interested. Like, do we know why they're covered up the way they are? Like, what do they look like?
There have been depictions of Sand People without their like wrappings on.
Yeah.
They're kind of horrific looking.
Okay.
And I think it's mostly to protect them from the sun.
Right.
Because their skin like cannot take, especially with two suns. Like,
so is like the goggle things, are they actually goggles?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're space gingers.
Yeah, essentially. but there is a reason like why none of their skin is ever exposed to, like, you never see flesh on them.
Right. Yeah.
They're all, even their hands have like gloves and wrapping down their arms and everything, so you never actually see what they look like.
I was just curious if we've ever if that's ever been shown or explored.
There was a Jedi who was a Tusken Raider.
Oh.
That's interesting.
In old canon, actually, there was.
Legends.
I can't remember his name. Yeah, in Legends. But I can't remember what the name was.
Yeah.
But I remember reading it in a book at one point in time.
Okay.
But yeah, Tusken Raiders became a favorite of mine.
Yeah, I really like the depth we got with them.
I always liked Tusken Raiders, but this was neat.
Yeah.
All the action obviously is great.
Directed extremely well.
Yeah, I think that most of the action in the entire show is pretty good, with maybe one exception, but we'll get to that later.
Later or sooner?
Well, later. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all we had to say about that episode. I don't really have anything to add to that. So I give that episode like probably like a 9 out of 10. Like, it's really good. And it's the longest episode of the season,
which is weird.
So that's another reason why.
I think I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's like I said, it's directed like a goddamn movie.
Yeah,
Like, and it felt like a movie. It didn't feel like an episode in a TV show. It felt like its own hour-long movie.
Yeah.
So John did a great job at doing that. Plus, did we even get an episode in season 1 directed by John?
No. This is the first
See,
episode.
that's the thing. Like, you kicked that season off with a bang because you gave John the reins and you're like, hey, go for it.
Yeah.
And John's been such a big part of Star Wars. Well, not a big part, but he has now become a huge part of it. And he's always been a part of it in some way.
Yeah.
You have him in every era, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have him in Clone Wars, you have him in Solo, and then now you have him in he's in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And then you have him writing everything.
Yeah.
Creating the storyline. So I mean,
wasn't he a Mandalorian in the first season?
Yeah, he's Paz Vizsla, who is Pre Vizsla's grandson, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, he's proving himself to be the only person for the job. Well, he and Dave are like the only two people for the job.
I love that it's become like almost a partnership.
Oh, they are. They are. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They both love it, and they're doing a great job at it.
Yeah. I'm gonna second Sean's rating of 9. I think it really set me up and got me really excited that the Mandalorian was back. Not that I wouldn't have been, but like just in the moment, I was like, okay, we're back. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
it was a great return to form.
Yeah.
For the beginning of the season. And then obviously we get Aaron and I's opinion on this episode are well known, but
which is kind of funny because the director of this episode directed the finale.
Yeah.
So he kind of got his second chance to make up for this one.
Yeah.
So we have episode or chapter 10, is it?
Chapter
10.
10.
Chapter 10.
Let's just skip over it.
It's the passenger, right?
Yeah, the passenger. Yeah.
No, I mean it's gonna be quick.
Yeah.
So.
But it's so obviously at the end of chapter 9, the Mandalorian is trying to seek out other Mandalorians, and I don't even remember her name.
Amy Sedaris.
Yeah, Amy Sedaris' character gives him intel, and this is the beginning of this episode.
And we think it's gonna be Boba Fett. But it's not.
And it ends up being a frog lady that he has to transport to the planet.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of tension there whenever he's flying and he's getting grilled by the New Republic officers. Like, I like that part. And then after that, though, it's like kind of boring.
Well, it's not even that it's boring. There's nothing pushing the story.
Yeah.
It's just it's a big spectacle action episode, which is perfect. Like I said, I don't have a huge problem with this episode because it's action heavy.
But literally every other episode this season is push the plot forward.
Yes, this of course didn't. It had to be like a filler. Like I think it just kind of the way they were thinking about it was they're like, well, let's slow down for one episode till we build back up. Let's have a side thing going on here. But like you said, I kind of I got real excited when it was Trapper Wolf and the other guy. They're like, were you involved
Mr.
in a
Kim.
were you involved in a prison? Were you near a prison ship at this point in time? And then they'd lock their S-foils, and he's like,
yeah, you know, it's bad whenever he's like, hey, can you switch channels to
switch the channel too.
Yeah, and then it's just their weapons engage, and you're like, uh-oh, here it comes.
And he's just like, dip. But
so looking at the season as a whole now, this one is really weird because everything else had something of
you're just now realizing.
No. I'm just saying, like, because after, I mean, when was it that we talked about I remember telling Sean, I was like, that I really like this episode, which I do still like it.
No, it's a fine episode.
But like, just in the entirety of the season, it's like there's so much substance in the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why'd they put this one in here?
That's what I mean. It's just like a spectacle filler episode. Like everybody, like, they're just like, hey, let's showcase what kind of fucking horrors we can make out of this. Like, how can we make this terrifying? And they're like, oh,
and I like that part. Like, I like
the
spiders.
Not Lothal spiders. They're from whatever planet Bendu's on.
Yeah.
In Rebels, but the thing in Gallery that kind of like was weird was they were talking about it like they just pulled it from the concept art, where they're like, yeah, we made the big white spiders from the Empire Strikes Back concept art, and I'm like, and Dave like never said a word. I'm like, you already did those in Rebels. They're very prevalent. Like, this isn't new. Like, we knew what this creature was. Like, it was just weird that they didn't even, like, touch on it. They didn't even say, they're like, oh, there's something similar to it in Rebels. Like, no.
They're pretty, common in Rebels.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they're in, like 10 or 12 episodes. Like, they appear there, and there's one whole episode dedicated to them fighting them off, like Din does in this episode. And then at the end of that episode, they're saved by Trapper Wolf and Mr. Kim. I can't remember what the other guy's name is. I just remember Dave Filoni's character's name. And he's saved by them. And he's like, how about you guys help me fix my ship so I can get out of here? And they're like, nah. And then just leave.
Yeah, they're like, maybe we don't arrest you, and that's your payment. That is one part of the show that I like. And that was another thing where it was like, they look like they're about to get like completely run over, and then like the blasters start happening, and you're like, oh, is this Boba Fett? Maybe he followed him, and then he's like, saving him because his armor's on the ship and it's about to get fucking eaten. But it ends up just being the New Republic guys, which was fine. Which is also odd though, considering what Boba says to Din later on in the season, but whatever. He says he's been tracking him, so like he should know or whatever. He would have shown up
unless he's also wanted, so he didn't want to get involved.
Maybe
that's true.
That's very possible.
Yeah, he might have got a reading from the 2 X.
I was gonna say if he scanned 2 X-wings, he'd probably nope, like nope, staying out of that.
They don't need to know I'm alive yet.
I'll come find him later.
That's true. I didn't think about that, but yeah. That's about the size of the episode.
Yeah, that's.
I'll give it a 5 out of 10. It was okay. The action was fine.
I'll give it 6.5. 6.5 out of 10. It's very action heavy, but it doesn't move the story along.
Yeah.
Even if it had like a little bit of story progression, maybe it'd be better in my opinion. But it's literally just there for.
It's a filler episode with some cool visual effects.
Yeah, it's not going to seem very low, but I'll give it a 7, just because I still really do enjoy this episode. I've watched it several times.
It's a very you could tell that Peyton Reed was trying to dig into some horror, like stuff.
Yeah,
he was really trying to push that into Star Wars, like to give like a horror thing, which we were talking about the other day, like horror in Star Wars. This is about the closest thing that we've gotten.
Well, the episode, the prison episode from the first season was pretty horror-esque too.
Yeah,
where he's hunting down
those
like
guys. More like monster,
actual monster.
Yeah.
And horror, not just like giant monster like Rancor. Like this is actual like terrifying spider things.
Yeah, the entire swarm of spiders
that would make any arachnophobe shit their pants watching this.
Yeah, I'm not scared of spiders, but I'm not exactly keen on big spiders. Like, I'm not. You won't see me with like a tarantula or anything. So,
all right. I guess we'll move on to chapter 11, titled
"The Heiress."
The Heiress, the Heiress,
the
Heiress, the Heiress,
the Irish.
I want to do boys, guys.
Yes, the Heiress.
The Heiress, obviously. After,
so I mean, this is where shit picks
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Aaron,
yeah.
Aaron's
This is-
spoiling Bo-Katan.
I didn't spoil it. Katie Sackhoff spoiled it.
But you can twist it any way you want to.
I literally shared her tweet to our group chat. She shouldn't have tweeted, "Is it Friday yet?" You could have taken that anyway. That could have just been her day job.
No,
or
I'm
something
sure.
that she's like, "Is it 5 o'clock on Friday yet?"
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Why would she do that?
I don't know.
But yeah, it's Din makes it to the planet with his barely makes it to the planet. He crashes right before landing.
And then we have it's like a Corran / Mon Calamari planet where we get a Mon Calamari in a cable knit sweater. Now they showed it in gallery, and I was like, that is so lazy. like the lady was like, no, we wanted to make everything like, feel like it's different, but in a galaxy far, far away. And I'm like, I saw that sweater at Old Navy. like you didn't make, like, you went there and you're like, well, just put it on the Mon Calamari, and we're like, yep, that's good. Like, nah, man. It was fine, but that was like my one like
I
little
definitely
nitpick.
didn't even notice.
That was my one little nitpick. Like, they had cable knit sweaters back in a galaxy far. Like, I get it. It's supposed to be like relatable to it and everything, and feel like it's a real thing, which is perfectly fine. But yeah. And then he goes into the bar and is asking where he can find more Mandalorians, and
After being scouted out by Bo-Katan,
yeah.
by the way.
Well, it wasn't her. It was
I don't know.
Casca Reeve Casca. I'll have to look up her name.
But yeah, being scoped out, which was kind of strange. It's like, I guess there was like, if a Mandalorian
Casca
lands
Reeves
down,
is her
it's
name.
probably like, oh, I guess you'd hear about it quickly, but I don't know.
It was also kind of weird because, like, it was like they were trying to throw a curveball because she looked very Jedi.
Yeah,
kinda.
with her cloak,
with her robe and cloak, like.
Because remember, people thought that was Sabine.
Yeah.
She had her hair purple when she went back to WWE.
Yeah.
So everybody was like, "What was she Sabine? Like, are we getting Sabine?"
Like that had to have been her being like, "I'm gonna fuck with them."
That's actually, if she did that on purpose, bravo.
I mean, she always has her hair different colors.
Yeah.
But like,
so does Sabine.
but yeah, but
so she changes her. But at the end of Rebels, her hair is purple.
Yeah.
So when she dyed her hair purple, everybody was like,
it's got to be on purpose. If not, that's a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah. I think that she did it on purpose, just to be like, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see if because she has resemblance to Sabine.
Yeah.
So everyone could have thought like, oh yeah, she's probably Sabine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the Corran try to feed Grogu.
Oh my god, that moment
to that big Kraken thing. I'm just picturing the meme that I sent where the Corran like hits it and it goes in, and it's Eric Andre doing like the cheer from his desk.
Yeah.
And then Bo-Katan and her Mandalorian friends show up, and they kick all the Corran's asses and save Din and Grogu, and then
we don't know his name yet.
we don't know that, but and then they did she take off her helmet on the boat?
Yeah, like immediately.
Yeah, and then he's like, and Din is immediately fucked off.
He's like, "What are you doing?"
That she took her helmet off, or that all three of them took their helmets off.
Yeah.
Actually, he's like, "What?" Yeah, and then he's like, "Well, we don't need your help." So like, so they leave, and then they blow up the boat.
Yeah, they blow it right up,
and then Din gets jumped by a gang of the fishermen. And he's like, "You killed my brother." And then Bo-Katan and the other Mandalorians showed up, and she's like, "No, I killed your brother." And then they kill all of them. Yeah. And then she's like, "Well, let us buy you a drink."
Yeah. Mandalorian needed to be saved twice this episode.
Yeah.
Makes him look
he
like a real
probably could have
punk.
took all of them.
Probably,
himself,
but
I think, but
well, Jesus Christ, he's got those whistling birds that he uses like goddamn Gatling gun every episode. He could have just killed them all with that.
Yeah.
Use them sparingly.
Use sparingly. Use sparingly. In every episode, it's like...
They're awesome, though.
They are awesome.
Yeah, so because of that, they basically... Bo-Katan's like, I could send you to a Jedi, but you're gonna have to help me first, which is pretty much the theme of every single episode of The Mandalorian.
I can send you here, but you need to help me first.
Yeah. So he does help them take down a Imperial transport ship who was smuggling stuff.
Black market weaponry.
Yeah. And they succeed. Action was very nice this episode.
Yeah.
And then we get a transmission from Moff Gideon, who is basically like, "You're gonna kill yourself now."
You know what to do.
Yeah, because they capture one officer, and she's like, "Where's the Darksaber?" Because she wants that, obviously.
Yeah, where is it? Where is he?
Yeah,
because she don't say specifically who it is, because Mando doesn't know that he's alive.
Yeah, because she says, "Where is he and where's the Darksaber?" Yeah. So we the audience just kind of put it together. Oh, she's hunting Gideon because he's the one who has the Darksaber. Mm-hmm. And then so the pilots get killed. The other guy tries to kill himself. Well, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He bites like a electronic.
Yeah, an electronic like cyanide pill thing. And then they have to, how does that episode end?
They bring it up. The ship up so they don't crash.
They fly away and Mando flies back down to the
and picks up Baby Yoda to head back to I don't remember the name of the planet with
Corvus.
Corvus.
Yeah. That's basically the episode.
Yeah.
Or wait, is it Corvus or
that sounds right?
No, because I've been watching Battlefront 2 stuff, so I don't know if I'm correct on that.
Or Navarro.
Yeah, Navarro.
Yeah.
So I give that episode a 7 out of 10, probably.
I probably would give it a 7.5 out of 10.
I was going to jump in and ride on the 7.5. It's going to be lower than probably most of these because I didn't have any connection to Bo-Katan. Like,
right.
I've heard the name obviously throughout the years, but I didn't know anything about her.
Okay. And then we hop on to Chapter 12, The Siege, directed by Carl Weathers. Oh, I guess we forgot to mention that Bryce Dallas Howard directed the previous episode, which she did a great job. I liked her episode from the first season, too.
Which one did she do in the first one?
The Seven Samurai episode, where they train the village against the
Okay,
ATST.
yeah, I really like that one. Yeah. I like that one more, I think, than this one, but...
Caladan is the city on Corvus. Oh, it is Corvus. I thought I was wrong.
Well, which one's Navarro?
No. We got confused. She tells Mando in that previous episode where she can find a Jedi.
Oh, that's Corvus. Yeah,
it is Corvus, but I got confused because I've been watching Battlefront 2 gameplay.
Yeah.
And their ship is called the Corvus. So I was like, wait, am I confusing those two?
There's a lot of talk that the main character from that game could show up too.
Oh yeah, she could.
Because she's alive.
She puppeteered the Mon Calamari from the previous episode.
Yeah.
Janina Gavankar.
Yep.
Yeah. Who is also a huge Star Wars.
Oh yeah, no, I follow her on Instagram. Yeah.
Well, who wouldn't?
Wait. So yeah, this. I mean, I'm not going to lead this because you guys will give it more praise than I will. Not that I hated this one. I didn't like it. I don't think as much as you guys did.
The Siege.
Yeah, The Siege.
No, I think it was a fine episode. We got Admiral Jeff Blue Jeans.
Oh yeah.
We got that really odd minute and a half of Carl Weathers doing linear wipes.
Oh yeah,
for every transition. that was really the only thing that really like stood out to me this episode was how he just did linear wipe for every transition, like into a new hallway or something. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing that?
He really likes it.
I guess so.
But then they all stopped because like he just did it like for that. And
Yeah.
I guess like I'm guessing if he went back and like rewatched it, he was like, no, let's stop. No, take the rest of this wipes out. That's enough right there at that
Wonder why he'd
minute and a half.
keep them in so close together anyway.
Yeah.
But
This is the episode where we get the real big news that Moff Gideon is trying to use Grogu's blood to
Make Snokes.
create Force-sensitive beings.
yeah.
Which I thought that was a really great part of the episode.
Yeah, no, I honestly the tail end of this episode I think is where the meat is.
It's very cinematic too. And Carl Weathers knows how to do some action because he's been doing it his entire life. So
Yeah, honestly, once they leave the base and they're being chased by the stormtroopers, I think that's the best part.
Did you know he played for the Oakland Raiders?
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that.
He did.
I didn't either.
He was a free agent for like a year. The
Interesting.
Oakland Raiders, yeah. He was an NFL player.
So was Terry Crews.
That's right.
That makes
Also
sense.
good at action.
Yeah, he's good.
And comedy.
But it's other than that one reveal, there isn't much substance to this episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say this. There's probably a little bit more to this one than two, just because it has more characters.
Yeah.
Because they'll come back later. Well, I guess the only Cara
I
Dune.
guess we get Cara Dune being inducted into the New
Rangers.
Republic Rangers. That's pretty significant for later episodes.
Right. Yeah.
But other than that, the cloning stuff,
Yeah.
that's about it. But really
That was
great
only
action
30
scene.
seconds. So.
Yeah. The base being like falling into the lava or whatever.
Yeah.
We get Horatio Sands back as
Blue guy.
blue guy. I forget what his name is.
They smashed his speeder.
Yep.
They sure did. He is the slave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the there was some really good action.
Baby Yoda
parts.
goes to school.
Oh,
Yeah.
and eats blue macaroons.
I thought they were blue like Oreos.
I think that
They're macaroons, I think, yeah.
They're similar to Oreos. They have cream in the middle on their two
Yeah.
cookie sandwich.
Well, that's just what I call them.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know what those
Yeah. They're really good. Makes me want to eat some right now. But anyway, like the speeder bike chase was pretty cool. For those who survived the speeder bike chase, because
Well, that
two
one
of them
fucker
just
couldn't
died immediately.
Yeah, they
like,
couldn't
'cause
make it
couldn't
down the
even
hill.
go
I
down
thought
the
that
hill.
was cool.
It was cool, but
No,
Like, people were giving that shit, but I
well, you
liked
know
it.
what? It actually makes sense because you can't see shit out of those helmets. So,
Yeah.
and going down a hill like that, you're probably like, where?
yeah.
Yeah, had some good action. That progressed the story because we got the hints to Snoke and the First Order,
Yeah.
what they're trying to do and all that. And then at the end of that episode, we see... Is it that episode where it's the...
We see the Dark Troopers.
Do we see that in
Yeah,
that
that's
episode?
that
Okay,
episode.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because one of the people that they have fix Mando's Razor Crest puts a tracking beacon on it.
That's right,
Yeah.
And then he reports that he has the asset.
That one girl that I swear I know tells Gideon that they have a tracker.
Yeah.
I don't know why she looks so familiar, and I don't know why.
Uh,
I looked her up. But I don't think she played in anything I know. But
and then we get our first view of the Dark Troopers, which we don't know if they're
not a
suits.
good view because
No, you can't tell what they are.
Yeah.
You just know that they're some kind of suit or something.
Yeah. I mean, people knew what they were, but there's also like 3 different versions, so
Yeah.
we
this-
weren't sure what kind we were
Yeah,
getting.
because we find out later that this is 3rd generation, which are all droid.
Right.
They're going back to droids. They're skipping out on the stormtroopers in
Back
the
to-
3rd generation.
They're like K2SOs, but beefier.
yeah, and invincible. We find out.
Yeah.
And then
Did I rate this one?
No, not yet. I'll just keep this one like the previous episode, 7 out of 10.
I'll continue the 7.5.
Okay. What did I give the second one?
7.5.
Oh, damn. I'll just match it at 7.5 because I don't know. I don't like this one specifically any more than that one. So.
All right, then we get the moment that we've all been waiting for at least before the following episodes after this one. Is it chapter 14 at this point? The Jedi. 13, The Jedi.
The Jedi.
Which, directed by Dave Filoni.
Of course.
Yes, and it's very, very Eastern influence.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great episode.
It is a fantastic episode.
So
I love this episode.
So my lack of knowledge on Bo-Katan withstanding, I feel like I definitely knew more about Ahsoka Tano than Bo-Katan. So
yeah, Bo-Katan is just kind of a side character in
Yeah.
Clone Wars, whereas Ahsoka is more of a
I mean, I played like
center figure.
I played like video games with Ahsoka and whatnot. So, yeah. So I was excited.
Oh yeah.
Beforehand for this one, because with it being Dave Filoni's episode to direct, like there's no way that she wasn't going to be in this one.
It's Dave's child.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally
Dave's
character
child.
he created from his film. So
yeah.
So he was like, okay, I get to direct my child grown up, all grown up.
Yeah.
You know? So it was perfect for him to direct it because it's his character.
Yeah.
Only he can do it. Because if you had handed it to anyone else, I don't know if they would have been able to do as much justice as he did.
No, certainly not.
I don't think so.
And boy, did this episode just get off to the action.
Yeah, it's very action heavy.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think this is probably my favorite episode.
It is in my top for this season.
I'd say it's probably my third favorite episode.
I mean, once we get to the season finale, it's close, but I think I would have to give this one the edge. Like, just front to back, it's just, I don't know. It's just awesome.
This is the point of the season where
the pedal hits the metal and it just keeps going from there.
Well, yeah, but I was trying to find a way to describe it where it wasn't diminishing it by saying that it was relying too much on nostalgia or fan service. Like, it has the right amount. It doesn't go heavy with it, but after this, like, honestly, if you're an OG Star Wars fan who hasn't watched anything else, you're gonna enjoy the rest of the season from here on out, and you're gonna know what is all going on.
People could make a good argument saying that there is too much fan service / nostalgia.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it that way.
I definitely don't look at it that way.
Like,
but...
I mean, the only instance would be Ahsoka's presence, and it's integral to the story, so it's not really fan service, in my opinion.
No, I mean, just like the rest of the season. Like,
just the amount of characters that we know.
As things start to progress, it could be argued that they're just like, they were like, we don't, like, we're going to throw these characters in because we really don't know what else to throw in there.
That's the thing, is that every character, fan service wise, with an exception possibly that I'll get to when we get there, but they serve a purpose in the story. Like, Bo-Katan was a through line to Ahsoka, and then Boba, obviously, he comes back and he wants his armor back, but also he plays a role in recapturing Grogu after he's taken by Moff Gideon. So, I mean, they all serve purposes.
Yeah, no. It's not Rise of Skywalker where they panicked.
Yeah.
And they're like, who do we put in? Not to bring that, you know.
We thought about bringing Palpatine back, and after 30 seconds of thinking about it, we knew that was the right choice. I'm not kidding you. That is a direct line from J.J. Abrams on that video. I was like, 30 seconds. You didn't say it to anyone else, and they didn't go, no.
But he's dead.
Anyway,
I'd rather not get into that.
We don't have to.
I digress.
But so this is also a heavy lore dumped episode.
Oh, yeah.
We get Baby Yoda's official name, Grogu, and we learn about a little bit of his upbringing in Coruscant at the Jedi temples and everything. And
I want more information on that.
Yeah. And basically,
Can you give me more information, please?
Would you like to know more?
Yes.
Would
you like to know more?
And then we just get a badass samurai duel and
God.
standoff at the very tail end of this episode.
That is one of the greatest fights and everything. Like, that is just pinnacle. Like, that'll stand out in my mind forever in Star Wars canon.
Yeah.
But her at the beginning, running through the forest, only being illuminated by her lightsabers.
That's great.
When she just shows up, she's just like deactivates them and just runs, and then she goes, cuts another head off. Other dude's behind a tree, and she goes, throws the stump at his head, and then just like the tree falls down and then falls on another guy. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
I think my favorite part of the episode, though, is the ending with her duel with the magistrate, and then Mando's standoff with the guy, because it's such a great
with Kyle Reese.
Yeah, it's such a great dichotomy, because it's like they're brawling to the death, and then they're just kind of measuring each other up, and then it's obvious that he was gonna try and get him at the end, but he's like, he tries to fool him. He's like, oh, me and you are the same. I'm willing to die for a cause that's, the right cause, and this isn't that. So whoever sides wins, And then obviously Ahsoka wins, and he lays his blaster down. He's like, "Looks like you win," and then he tries to draw on him, and it's just instantly like done for. I love that. That was so great.
Oh, yeah. The build up is great.
But it's like you have the release of the battle between Ahsoka and the Magistrate, but the tension just keeps building on Mando and
we're
the
just gonna
hired
call
gun.
him Kyle Reese.
The hired gun. And in typical Mandalorian fashion, after Mando helps out who he needs to, Ahsoka's like,
prize.
He's like, "Oh, I can't help you. I'm gonna help you."
Yeah, you need to.
Never mind, I can't help you.
You need to go to this.
Yeah, you're probably not ready to fight Vader. So why don't you do it?
Yeah, you're
probably
ready
ready to fight Vader.
That's what I was thinking about too.
Yeah, and then he also gets a prize at the end of the episode because I can't help you, but here's a Beskar spear.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Well, it's pretty important later on.
It is pretty
but...
important.
It is. But yeah, she sends him to into the next episode, and
to the scene.
Has to go to the scene.
It would have been kind of funny if and that's the funny thing is, like, at the end of every episode, somebody's like, and that's what I've always said about The Mandalorian, is it felt like like you're playing
much
through
video game.
an RPG video game, where it's just like, okay, now you have to go to this place and do this. It felt like Fallen Order. Because something always happens, and then you're like, you have to go back to Bogano. And it's like, what the fuck? I was just there. And then you have to, like, go back. And
I'm tired of these goddamn loading screens.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of how Mando feels through that. It's like us playing Fallen Order. It's like, oh, okay, well, go back to Dathomir. But like, I don't want to go back to Dathomir.
But only the side quest, though.
Yeah, where she's like, oh, I can't help you. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, if I would have been Mando, I'd have been like, do you have like a book that I can like teach him? I got a lot of places to go, and I don't have a hell of a lot of time to train him. So do you have like a book with the shapes for the Force? And all
I forget, what was her reason why she like...
Because she wasn't part of the Jedi Order any longer.
And she basically just refused anyway because of Grogu's attachment to Din Djarin.
Oh, right.
It's like it makes him weak, essentially.
Yeah.
Which she's seen stronger Jedi, chiefly Anakin, fall to the dark side.
Right. It was a great line, yes. Yeah. I have forgotten.
But yeah, this is a solid 8.5 out of 10, I'd say.
I would second that. I take it back. I'm giving it a 9.
I was going to say...
I'm giving this episode a 9. because this is damn near a perfect Mandalorian episode.
I'm gonna take it a step further because 9.5.
9.5. I thought you were gonna go 10. I was gonna go, what?
Nah,
like if we give something a 10, it's gotta like be a big, yeah, we gotta have a bell.
The only thing missing for that extra 0.5 is the fact that I wasn't like a big Ahsoka Tano fan prior.
I was a fan of hers, especially after the last season of Clone Wars. Like I became a bigger fan, so I was really excited. But then like I saw this and I'm like, nope, I'm a huge fan, super fan. I'm like, I'm just a super fan now.
I mean, I thought she was cool in how she held her lightsabers in like the one game that I played. Like,
oh yeah, she's badass.
So like I didn't know anything about her, but with that missing, that's what doesn't. Because I'm sure if I was an attached fan,
oh yeah,
mind blowing. So that's why I couldn't justify 10, but definitely 9.5.
All right, and we move on to the next episode,
which is one of my favorites as well.
It's pretty great.
The Tragedy.
Right,
which, whenever that popped up on the screen, I was like, I wonder what's gonna happen.
It popped up and it said The Tragedy, and I was like, we're getting a Darth Plagueis episode? Sweet. It's like, boy, I cannot wait. This is going all off the rails.
What would happen if it was like called The Tragedy, and then it was like
Subtitle
5 minutes? No, it was like 5 minutes of like the Mandalorian and Grogu traveling to I can't remember the name. Tython. And then it just like cuts and it's like a visual rendition of what happened to Darth Plagueis, and then the final 5 minutes is them landing and like him putting Grogu on the stone.
Remember, that's what I said when we watched the last episode, the previous one we just talked about, where I was like, okay, Ahsoka is gonna show up at the ass end of this episode. Right. And then it immediately starts out with like her running through killing people, and I was like, never mind.
But yeah, obviously Mandalorian takes Grogu to Tython, sets him on the Seeing Stone, and nothing happens at first. And then a mysterious ship shows up, and
it ain't mysterious.
No,
You knew exactly what it was.
Well, yeah, Slave One goes.
Yeah, because like I heard, like of course I have the subtitles on whenever I watch anything, just because my hearing isn't great, so I like to be able to just read it. And it said ship approaches, and I was like listening to the sound of the ship, and then like he turns and you see Slave One. I was like, no shit! Like I immediately, like, because I didn't watch this with either of you, so I was like flipping out. I was like, he's coming back.
Yeah, and they have a bit of a standoff. Boba and Din Djarin have a standoff, and we find out that Fennec is also revived and has crosshairs on Grogu on the Seeing Stone, which I thought that was great. When he's like, I have a sharpshooter, and it's like, if you blast me, then I'll take care of it. And it's like, well, I see that's shot, and we're both hitting the ground. He's like, I didn't say they were on you. It was like such a threat.
Yeah, Boba. That's like a key to both. Like he's not cocky, but he's just like.
He's a matter of fact.
No bullshit.
He's like, bring it. Like, I dare you.
Yeah, he's very much a matter of fact, and he's confident in his ability, which we see his
which
ability.
He proves later.
By the way, directed by
Robert Rodriguez.
Known for
Predators, Spy Kids.
I was gonna
Shark
say
Boy
a genre of filmmaking, not his filmography. But yeah, sure.
This didn't feel anything like Spy Kids or Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
No, he's a Grindhouse director, and it felt a little Grindhouse to me.
Oh yeah. Like it, and like I said to you, after watching it, I was like, oh, I need to go see who directed this, because I felt very familiar with the style, and after I saw it was Robert Rodriguez, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, well, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Dude's just chilling on set with a guitar.
With a guitar playing as like Baby Yoda is like
that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
But he brought back the famed bounty hunter who, might I point out, I was a passing fan of Boba Fett
Yeah, I didn't.
before this episode.
I never saw the appeal.
Sean's always been a fan of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Boba Fett is cool looking.
Yeah.
Well, in the original trilogy, I was like, Boba Fett's cool. He doesn't do jack shit. I like Jango Fett better than Boba Fett because Jango Fett proves himself to be a
I used to
badass.
always use Jango Fett in
Battlefront 2.
Lego Star
Oh
Wars.
yeah, he's great too. Isn't he?
Mainly just because I was like
Dual blasters.
Well, that too, but I would pick him over Boba because I'm like, yeah, Boba's.
You were more familiar with Django because Django actually did something in like episode 2. He might be one of the better parts of episode 2.
Yeah,
Django Fett.
Yeah.
But Boba Fett, I was a passing fan of. I thought he was cool looking. He didn't do much. I never really saw the appeal. And then this episode happened, and now I'm a huge fan of Boba Fett.
Yeah. Yeah. Just thanks to
this is
Robert
balls to the
Rodriguez.
wall
Yeah.
action.
This is like, and then during the battle, you see Boba turn towards the Razor Crest after he beats some stormtroopers' heads in with a gaffy
We
stick.
can't just overlook that.
No. and that's another cool thing that they said on Gallery is he wanted to incorporate his Maori warrior style into Boba Fett, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, he
I
was
think
doing
my
his chant things on set.
And he asked for them to make him a gaffy stick that would be like slightly bigger but easier to like handle and do that shit with. So it's awesome to see that Tamara Morrison was so involved with it that he's like, well, what if we do this, or can I do something like this? And they're like, yes, do it. Like, this is gonna be amazing.
I think my favorite line from that part of Gallery was Robert Rodriguez saying he wanted to differentiate Din from Boba because they're two different sects of Mandalorians. And he's like, well, if the Mandalorian is a gunslinger, I want Boba to be a barbarian. And he clearly is. Yeah. He is just absolutely crushing people.
Yeah, smashing the helmets with the gaffy stick. But, like, we get him running off to the Razor Crest, and then I just remember the shot. They're, like, being overrun by the stormtroopers, and then you see, like, a shadow come over, like, the back of one of the stormtroopers, and he turns around, and Boba's just there with a pistol to his head and just blasts him.
Well, we first get
like,
I'm not going to remember the actual name, the grenade.
Oh,
the thermal detonator.
Yeah, and then he like blasts the one dude in the face, and then he's just beating the holy hell out of people. And then we finally get to see, because I never noticed this about his wardrobe before, the knee armor. And he like...
Was that a thing that was always there?
It was always there.
Okay.
But I never noticed them on the sides.
Yeah.
Or knew what they did. No one did know what they did.
Yeah.
So when he like turns, he like kneels down slightly and just shoots rockets off of the knees and kills like 6 more stormtroopers. And then that's another thing too, that he solidified his badassery, because while he's like shooting the stormtroopers, he just like takes a quick look at a crate, shoots that, and the whole crate blows up and kills like 10 of them.
Yeah.
And then of course cements himself by running down the 2 transports and launching the jetpack, hitting the one on the right, and the right crashes into the left, and they both come down.
I was actually aiming for the other one.
Absolutely insane.
I think it's kind of funny whenever... So, the Razor Crest gets blown up, and he takes Slave One to see...
That's the tragedy.
Yeah. Who does it. And then he says, oh, the Empire's back. It's like, you couldn't tell after you killed like 30 stormtroopers?
Yeah.
Like, of course the Empire's back, you moron.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Well,
I
take that as he was like looking, like he thought that maybe they were just rogue like troopers that had just come down to scavenge or whatever. And then when he saw the light cruiser, he's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Like these aren't...
That's true.
These aren't just randos who are out here hunting. They were sent here by somebody.
Yeah. So you glossed over, we talked about the badassery after he got the armor back on. But I think some of the best shots are when he was beating people with the Raider stick. I forget the name of the damn thing. Gaffy stick. Because I mean he's busting their helmets. I mean
he stabbing them through the chest armor.
Yeah. Honestly, that stuff might be more badass than the Boba stuff.
I don't know. That stuff's awesome, but that was just like a way of Robert leading you in to what was coming next.
Yeah,
he's like, see, Boba's really strong. He can beat the holy hell out of these guys without his armor. And he's like, but wait till you see what he does with his armor.
Yeah. I don't know. Visually, I just thought it was maybe not better. It doesn't need to be compared, but like, I love that.
Oh yeah, no, the whole episode was done great.
Yeah,
and like that's something that needed to be done because I feel like when they wrote that episode, they're like, they go to Tython, he puts him on the Seeing Stone. Okay, what happens next?
It was like a 6-page script. He's like, stormtroopers come, they fight, and then Robert Rodriguez is like, all right, let me
Wasn't
flex.
Boba Fett in the end of episode 1? Yeah, okay. Just check it.
Let me flex a little bit.
But that was cool that they had planned that out, because you later find out that it was planned out from gallery, where Dave and John are talking, and they show you from the first season where they're looking at the editing of the
with the Spurs,
and they're like, are we gonna throw people, or are they gonna be like, oh, that's Din? And he's like, yeah, I think it's gonna throw people, but some people are gonna notice the sound and be like, yeah, that's Boba Fett. So like, it's nice that was all. This wasn't a fly by the seat of their pants.
Yeah.
This was like, nope. This, like, they did it like Marvel, where they're like, nope, this beat matches this beat. This has to come back. Like,
it rhymes.
Yeah, it's like poetry. It's like pottery. It rhymes.
But I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. It's a solid episode. Oh, by the way, Grogu gets captured.
Oh yeah. We glossed over that because we were too busy drooling over Boba Fett's action sequences.
in my prediction, it didn't come true. I'm pretty sad about that.
What was your prediction again?
Obi-Wan, Force Ghost.
Oh yeah.
Like he'd be on the Seeing Stone and just, hello there.
Just hear it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he would have actually said that if he did show up. But...
They would have.
Yeah.
There's no way that he wouldn't say it.
Well, and it was kind of disappointing because
he was on set.
Yeah,
I thought for sure, like, you know.
Yeah, I would give this episode 8.5. 8.5. It's right behind the Jedi for me because it made me a true fan of Boba Fett.
It definitely did give me also an appreciation for Boba Fett. I'm going to go 8. It was a great episode. It aged absolutely perfect. That one.
And then we get chapter 15. Oh crap! I forget what the name of the episode is.
The Believer.
The Believer. That's right. So
with Smash Mouth, weird choice, but you know.
I guess we forgot to mention also at the end of last episode, the Mandalorian asks Cara Dune about Migs Mayfeld because he's a sharpshooter and he knows where Moff Gideon's ship is, I guess. So the episode opens with the prison colony where he's scrapping TIE fighters.
Yeah, it's similar to Baraka from Fallen Order, except it's a prison colony.
Yeah.
They're not workers, they're just slave labor, essentially.
And,
yeah.
So they bust him out because they need him to find out where Moff Gideon's transporter is. And he says that there is a hidden base that he can go to on, I forget the planet.
Yeah, I forget what the planet is.
But, so it's like a spice mining planet. And they're like, okay, so they take him to the planet and, they're basically going to steal a transport of rhydonium, which is a highly combustible material.
Like coaxium.
Yes. And they are arguing on the cliff face because he's the only one that can go. The rest of them are wanted by ISB.
ISB.
So
IXB? I don't know. Something similar.
So they have to decide that the Mandalorian has to go with them. And I think that this has a lot of substance to it, with Migs philosophically talking with the Mandalorian. He's like, look, when the chips are down, you got to do what you got to do.
We're not that different.
Yeah, we're not really that different. And Din's like, let me make one thing perfectly clear. Me and you are nothing alike. And he's like, I don't know about that one, pal. So, yeah, they're transporting the Rhydonium, and we find out from the home planet, there's a bunch of freedom fighters trying to blow up the Rhydonium because the Empire is going to be using it for nasty things. So they have to fight them off. And then whenever they make it to the Imperial base, the only way that they can use or get the information is by having their face scanned from the, I don't even know the terminal, the Imperial terminal. Miggs is going to do it, but he recognizes a former commander of his, and he's like, oh, you can't do it. Never mind. I'm out. And the Mandalorian goes, and he has to do it, which leads to a very intense scene where they sit down and are arguing, or I guess they're discussing with his former commander. So, yeah.
So, as you were explaining all of that, I realized that the commander didn't actually end up recognizing him.
Yeah, he didn't recognize him.
So, like, his whole worry thing was nothing anyway.
Yeah, but
which
he's trying to
it's not a
safe.
complaint.
Yeah.
But that's just funny. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
So, let's put some top secret information in a thing where you can just scan your face.
Oh, you have a
you're
face. Good. Here you go. Here's top secret coordinates to one of our main leaders' ships.
Yeah, it's a little silly, but
yeah.
And we talked about this in our one group chat where I was like, so wait a minute. You're telling me this is like, okay, so if I go into I don't know, the Library of Congress, and I log on to one of the computers and just like hit enter, I can figure out where Air Force One is somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
It just seemed kind of weird, like that they're just like, and that's the other thing too. You would think that their computer systems would have facial recognition to recognize someone who is actually enlisted, not just scan someone's face and be like, "Hi, face. Hey,
you're not somebody that's wanted.
Here's important information."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, semantics at that point, to me, anyway.
It's definitely overlookable. It's not
not
a word, but
it's not.
We can definitely overlook it, or forgive it.
It's definitely negligible. Like you don't think.
Yeah, the real meat of the episode is the philosophical debate between Miggs and then him and Valen Hess having their confrontation. Which about
Operation Cinder.
I brought this up to Aaron because a viewpoint was given to me that I was like, you've got a point there. It's less so applicable to Miggs in this case, but essentially it's from the story we know that Miggs Mayfield holds value in Imperial life. So in order to preserve that or address that, he's going to then murder a bunch of Imperial people. It's basically like, as you had stated, they're very clearly remnants. Like they're no longer like, for the country, for the good of things.
Yeah,
like
it was the old empire. These are the terrorist sects that are left over from the old empire.
That's the problem with Finn in the sequel trilogy. Is like he gets saved. And he recognizes that, all life is sacred, essentially. And Imperial life is just as valuable as regular life. So he's going to try and rectify that by killing a bunch of Imperial people.
Yeah, no. It definitely shouldn't be one-sided kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a big problem with Finn in the sequel trilogy. And it's, like I said, it's less applicable to Miggs in this instance, but it's still kind of in the back of my mind like, well, I feel like the scene would have been better if they would have just like had their confrontation and then they just calmly walked up, like stood up and walked out of the base and like got the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Rather than their awesome shootout, which was still really cool, but
yeah.
Was cool.
I don't know.
It's really the boiling point where he's just like to the Empire and he's like, poof! like it was well earned, but I feel like narratively it could have been a little better.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely am for like you shouldn't kill innocents on either side. But that dude was an evil dude, so I was like, okay.
Yeah, he's very evil.
So
and Bill Burr in this episode is just so fucking good. Like whenever Valen Hess is like, oh, with that Rhydonium you shipped us, we'll be able to do a lot more damage than what happened on I don't remember the planet they were talking about.
Yeah, but they were talking about Operation Cinder, and Operation Cinder was, I don't think we touched upon it, but Operation Cinder was they took a bunch of satellites that had dishes on them similar to the Death Star's dish, but they took like 50 of them and systematically put them in orbit on planets to just fry them and glass the planets. That way, Operation Cinder was to teach the galaxy who was still in charge. No matter if the Emperor was dead and the Death Star was destroyed, they had backup plans that were set. So when he talks about the entire city being gone in a matter of seconds, that is their Operation Cinder was to glass planets like that.
And he's just like, oh, with the Rhydonium you sent us, we'll be able to do more damage tenfold compared to what happened on that day. And he's just like, yeah, like you can just see it boiling in him. It's so good. I love this episode. Everything about it. This is my favorite episode of the season.
You know what I fucking hate? I fucking hate Star Wars. Except for like Empire, you know, when they cut off Han Solo's hand. I was actually like a Bill Burr interview where he's talking about how much he hates Star Wars.
Was that a long time ago?
It was like a couple of years ago.
Yeah. He just says he likes to hate on things that people like because it's just
and plus he's funny about it. Like, whenever he says it, like he's a comedian. That's why he does.
Yeah. Yeah. So
no, Bill Burr is the. Oh, hold on. No. We've got other things to talk about in this episode. Specifically, one very loud thing to talk about. The fact that Boba drops the seismic charge as they're leaving onto the two TIE fighters.
Oh, we totally forgot to talk about his new paint job.
He was so good.
Yeah, because he walks down off Slave One, and Cara Dune is bringing Migs to the ship, and Boba's standing there, and he turns to him and he goes, thought you were some other guy. And then Mando walks down the ramp. Thank you. The word I was looking for was ramp. Walks down the ramp and he's like, oh shit. But yeah, Boba has a sweet ass new paint job.
Yeah.
Also interestingly enough, I don't know if you caught this, but I showed it to Sean, and maybe I showed it to you in the group chat too. That Boba in the OG trilogy has yellow stripes on his helmet that stand for vengeance in Mandalorian culture. And they're red now, which stands for honor. So he's like trying to honor his father's legacy instead of going out for vengeance.
All right.
So he's making a turning point in his life.
Interesting. So what you're telling me is I need to move Slave One from the bad guys thing on my display.
You might be able to move him neutral this time. He's still a bounty hunter. He's still I won't say it yet. I'll wait till we get to the end.
Yeah. We also neglected to mention about Din taking off his helmet, which is like forsaking everything that he's grown up to do in order to save Grogu.
And the look on Pedro Pascal's face, like he played this so well.
Yeah, he's great in this.
You could tell he was uncomfortable and he didn't know where to look because.
Well, that's another thing is like he doesn't look with his eyes. He moves his entire head to look at people because that's how he is in a helmet. You have to move your whole head. Like whenever he's talking to Bill Burr, he says something and he just like moves his whole head. It's
that's what was awkward about.
I could say, because I have the Boba Fett helmet, speaking from experience, you do have to turn your whole head to like be able to see something. It's very difficult. I can only imagine what it's like to fight in.
Yeah.
So
I mean, unless they have a heads-up display on the inside, which I'm guessing they do.
So him taking his helmet off in this episode kind of takes the wind out of the sails of him taking him out in the following episode.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they kind of blew their load on this one. But
bit.
I like it better in this episode.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So I'm going to give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. It's nearly perfect in my opinion.
I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna put it at the same level as the Jedi. The Jedi for purely visual, like visually, it's a beautiful episode. It's very cinematic. But this has Bill Burr in a dramatic sequence that is unlike any other, and it's something that's not talked about in Star Wars. It's not really like delved into, but like that's the scene where I was like, this is fucking amazing, because you have him being like, fuck you, like, you know. And I thought, I said to Sean when we watched this episode, I thought that we were gonna get that same shot where they were sitting there and you were gonna see Bill Burr Mayfield like this on his holster, like unhooking it, and like Han and like pulling it to like shoot it from under the table. But now he just goes boom and just like blast him.
I thought we were gonna get that too.
Better. The over the table shot was better.
Yeah,
there's more emotion behind it. He was like, I don't give a shit if anybody sees me kill this bastard, you know.
So one thing we didn't get to talk about before I give my rating is when Boba picks them up finally. What's his Bill Burr's name?
Migs Mayfield.
Migs. He asked for the
pulse rifle.
Yeah. And he remembers that the hatch was open on the one transport and blows the
gets to do his sharpshooter.
Blows it all to hell.
Yeah. So I just thought that was very important. I'm not gonna go as high as you guys because I don't have an attachment to Bill Burr. I think that's a big part of it.
I think that this is narratively the strongest episode of the season 2. So like it's just.
I really enjoyed it. Anyway, I'm gonna give it an 8.5. It's not that far from you guys, but yeah.
And we've made it to the piece de resistance.
I think this is the only one we haven't talked about on.
No, this is the one we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
So
this is the finale.
Yeah. I don't remember the.
Are we sure there wasn't another episode in between?
Nope.
No, that was it.
The rescue.
I was looking.
Huh. Oh, and Rick. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Famiyuma. Yeah. Directed the previous episode, which was he also directed my favorite episode of the previous season, which was incidentally the same episode that Bill Burr was in, the prison sequence.
He must just be a big fan of Bill Burr.
I guess.
We gotta be friends or something.
Where he was like, nah, I want to bring him back.
But, yeah, so the rescue, does it begin with them meeting up with Bo-Katan? And,
yes, they have to go recruit.
Well, not quite. They capture the doctor first, though.
Oh, that's right.
They capture the lamb
because it opens up with them chasing them.
I've only seen this episode once. So
oh yeah, and then the dude, because they capture Dr. Pershing, and he's got the gun to his head, and he's like yelling at Cara Dune about like, do you know how many people you killed on the Death Star? And I'm like, you blew up a fucking planet, you psychopath. She's gonna fucking murder you. Like,
yeah, he's talking about how many people they killed on the Death Star.
You killed billions of people.
And then he taunts her with Alderaan.
Yeah. Like, what did you expect? You expected her to show you mercy because you killed a billion people or a couple billion people when they killed a million?
And he was doing the good old, I have a hostage, but I'm not gonna hide my face behind his head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody knew what was coming there.
They capture Hershing and he gives them, and then they go recruit Bo-Katan and her crew. And then he gives them the lowdown of the ship and everything. But I'm still not over this. Bo-Katan just like not accepting Boba Fett as a Mandalorian. Like it's just like she'll accept Din Djarin, who's a child of the Watch, but for some reason she just is so against the idea of Boba Fett being.
I get it.
It doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, he's a clone, so like that's what they she spent a lot of time taking out.
He is a clone.
Yeah, but he was raised by Jango Fett.
No, I know.
Well, not
Who
entirely,
or Jango Fett, who was actually a Mandalorian.
yeah,
so.
like he's essentially Jango Fett's son. Like
Yeah.
he is still a clone.
No,
but
I get it. He sounds like all the rest, and that's all she knows.
And I'm
sees.
wondering if she's just like, if she just thinks like that he's just a clone who's like faking being whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, the way that she talked to him, it sounded like she knew who he was.
Well, she knew the voice, so
Well,
she
yeah.
knew.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that Boba Fett has a reputation, Like,
Well,
people
that's
are
true.
going to know that he's a clone of, he's a clone. People are going to know that.
Yeah.
At least I think they would.
You would think.
Yeah. A lot of questions on that one. A lot of people's big problem with that scene, which I didn't think anything of it. I just kind of wanted your guys' take, because I don't think I asked you when we watched it. But again, I don't remember what we said her name was. Sasha Banks' character.
Costco Reeves.
Yeah, she like kind of fights with Boba a little bit and does like a twirling DDT, which is a wrestling move, because we can't have a WWE wrestler in a show and not do a move.
And then they both shoot their flamethrowers at each other, but they like cancel out.
Yeah. People were pissed that her character got like a move in on.
Got licks in on him.
Yeah.
I don't.
And I'm like,
He's old.
He's
not
old.
even that old, but
Yeah.
He's 60.
Well, yeah.
That's his actual age.
oh, is it?
Yes.
I mean, Tamara Morrison or Boba's age?
Well, you would kind of have to count it the same.
No.
Yeah,
Why?
because he's. All right, never mind. All right, I see what you mean. Now.
Anyway, yeah. So they were mad that she got some like moves in on him, and my thing is like she is just as much a trained Mandalorian as he is.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it.
Like I don't know why people are reading in on that just because she's a younger thing that like, oh, she don't have the experience because we just met her.
I mean, I think that people have to recognize too that Boba Fett is incompetent until the 2 episodes before this one. Like
Yeah.
we've only seen him be a failure essentially. So her getting hits on him
Yeah,
pretty much is par for the course.
I don't know what people have like made up in their headcanon, but apparently people think that he's like untouchable. But,
I mean, he's a badass. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong,
no.
but like
he's a badass,
But he
we
wasn't a
we never
badass.
saw it until now.
yeah, like genuinely, he's like before the tragedy.
Yeah.
We've only seen him be incompetent.
he's only been badass for about 2 days in canon lore.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so they get the skinny on the transporter, and then they go and attack it. In a pretty cool scene, they're using Bo-Katan's ship as like a distressed ship, and Slave One is following them. I thought that was really clever. And they're trying to get into the
Well,
transporter.
no, they're on the shuttle that they
Yeah.
stole.
Yeah.
Oh, you said Bo-Katan.
Well, whatever. Well, she was piloting it.
Yeah,
But I thought that was really clever.
that was their way to get in to the light cruiser, and then they get aboard the light cruiser,
And Boba Fett pieces out.
yeah, Boba Fett hits the
Yeah, we don't even.
hyperdrive
Well, we
so that he can come back later when their mission is completed.
Hmm.
And they go to the bridge because they're expecting to find Gideon, and Din makes his way to find Grogu, and ends up it's the people at the bridge activate the Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
So the Dark Troopers, the door opens, one of them gets through before Din can shut the lock and turn the airlock on to blast them all out the ass end. And he has this fight with the Dark Trooper who literally beats his face into a wall.
Yeah.
But the Beskar helmet is the only thing keeping him from having his skull completely smashed in like he did in Game of Thrones.
So
they're blaster resistant.
Yeah.
Entirely. There's not one spot you can hit them where it'll actually
Yeah,
through.
Which is interesting. I mean, I know blaster's not people have seen stuff. Blaster bolt is not a lightsaber, but
But the only way that he's able to disable this one is by stabbing the Beskar spear in between hydraulic joints on the neck and then ripping the head off. And that's the only way he can bring it out. He even lights it on fire with his flamethrower.
Yeah, like he innards even.
Yeah, and it still is coming towards him, and he ends up ripping the head off, and that kills it. And then he goes to Grogu's prison cell where he finds Gideon holding the lightsaber or the dark saber over him, and Gideon tells him, everything that he's like, I just wanted his blood so that we could do whatever for the new empire to regain security and order. And then he disengages the Darksaber and he says take him. He's like, and we'll go our separate ways. So Din believes him, grabs Grogu, and then he ignites the Darksaber and starts trying to chop him to pieces, and he's blocking every piece with his Beskar, which the Darksaber cannot cut through pure Beskar. But that's not entirely true.
His spear was getting pretty.
That's what I mean. His spear, because he takes out his spear.
That's a thing then
to fight him. Well, a lightsaber cannot cut through pure Beskar. It can't even heat it at all, as we saw with Ahsoka. But a Darksaber is more powerful than a lightsaber.
Huh.
So a Darksaber can, with force behind it, can melt.
Plus, it's shaped more like an actual sword.
Yeah.
With
it probably has a finer edge that can actually and that's why it was superheating the Beskar.
I was kind of.
But I think when he was landing hits on his armor, it was just kind of sliding off, so it wasn't like he was actually
because it wasn't a continuous pressure.
Yeah, because once he had continuous pressure on the spear, it would start to superheat, and he'd have to deflect so that it would give it time to cool down.
Yeah.
And then he knocks the saber out of his hand and takes him prisoner, and goes back to the bridge with Bo-Katan and his prisoner in binders, and has Grogu, and Bo-Katan looks at Din like, what the fuck did I tell you? And he walks in and he's like, here you go.
You didn't tell me shit is what she...
Yeah, she didn't say anything. She's like, yeah, you just leave him for me. He did. He brought him to her.
Yeah.
That's her prisoner.
You would have almost thought, she should have told him, hey, don't kick his ass because,
Yeah, just call me when you find him.
Yeah.
Just don't do anything. Just call when you find him.
So I had mentioned earlier in the podcast that there's one example of action that really doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
And it's just whenever they're going to the bridge and they're just there's no resistance. It's not even fighting. They're literally just murdering them.
Yeah.
It's just kind of okay, there they go in the bridge, just killing everyone.
I think it's more of the way I interpreted that is they caught them so off guard because
but it's just boring.
Yeah. But I mean, you kind of had to speed it up.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
The purpose of it is just boring because they're just.
But
there's no pushback.
Yeah, but what I meant is if they had resistance, it would have been another 10-15 minutes worth of episode.
God forbid.
I know, but but I think the point was they just caught them so off guard because they were like, "What the fuck? We're out here in the middle of nowhere. Nobody knows where we are. How the fuck are they? How the fuck did they know how to find us and board us and just fucking kill us all?" And then we get the Dark Troopers can fly, and since they're droids, they don't need air and space. So they make their way back onto the ship, up through the hangar bay, and make their way towards the bridge, which has been locked down, so that they can bust
Gates
in
the blaster doors.
and kill everybody on the bridge, including Gideon and Grogu and everybody. Every living thing on the bridge was going to be killed by the Dark Troopers. And
Gideon said everything but him and the child.
yeah. And that's where Gideon also teaches Din a valuable lesson about the Darksaber, that he can't just give it to Bo-Katan, it has to be won in combat. So Din realizes that he fucked up, because now she won't take the Darksaber.
Now Mando has a freaking lightsaber.
Yeah, he's now the ruler of Mandalore. So she will not take it, and he's like, I don't want it. Take it. And she's like,
I
no.
yield.
Yeah, and she's like, no. So
they're gonna have to fight for it.
So Gideon tells him, yeah, he's like, you have to fight for it. He said it's not the blade doesn't have power, the story does. So that's like the whole big thing behind it, which makes a little bit no sense, because that is not the way it goes in. Well, no, it is in as far as Maul taking over Mandalore from Pre Vizsla, and then
technically Ahsoka taking it from Maul.
Yeah, but it didn't make any sense, because in Rebels, Sabine gives the Darksaber to Bo-Katan to unite Mandalore, and no one ever says anything about it. But now apparently it's a no-no to just give over the saber to somebody.
Yeah. A little bit of continuity.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll learn more about that as next season.
It'd be really funny if they do acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Then the big stink happens.
Yeah, then the Dark Troopers start punching doors in and literally busting them concaved in until they will burst off of the hinges, and they can storm in and kill everybody. And the ship's bridge picks up a ship, or scans a ship coming out of hyperspace, and it's an X-Wing. And
a single
X-Wing, and Cara Dune goes, oh great, one X-Wing, we're saved. And Moff Gideon's entire disposition changes from like, oh good, the Dark Troopers are gonna kill you and not me, and then he's like, wait, what? Like, as he's watching the X-Wing enter the hangar, and they're asking for it to identify itself, and nothing comes over the comms or anything. And then as the pilot exits, walks down the hallway, we see a dark cloaked figure walking down through security cameras, and all the Dark Troopers turn around to face whoever the pilot is walking towards them. And lo and behold, the pilot pulls out a lightsaber and starts cutting down all of the Dark Troopers.
Which we only see in black and white.
We only see in black and white, and then we get a shot of the warrior from the back, and it's a green lightsaber.
Almost the same shot as Ahsoka.
Almost. And they're cutting down more Dark Troopers on the bridge, or on the bridge of the hangar bay, cutting them down, and then all the Dark Troopers that are punching through the doorway turn around because the elevator is starting to come up. Elevator opens, out comes the Jedi, and starts doing a mirror image of like Darth Vader in the hallway with the rebels, just massacring these droids using force, like pull one towards him to cut it in half, and then he freezes one, lifts it up, and then crushes the whole torso in and drops it, and then they open the door, and in walks... Well, now, before they open the door, Gideon takes a blaster that was under his cloak that he hid, and goes to shoot Bo-Katan, shoots her a bunch in the armor. It doesn't kill her or injure her at all. She drops, he turns the gun on Grogu, shoots at him, but Din jumps in front of the blast, and then he goes to kill himself, and Cara Dune butts the gun out of his hand and knocks him unconscious. So he obviously knew who it was who had come to their rescue, and The door opens, in walks the Jedi with the green lightsaber. He retracts the blade, puts it on his belt, and takes his hood off, and Luke Skywalker is revealed to be the person who saved them.
Yes. Crappy Luke.
It's not crappy Luke. I will fight anyone who said it was crappy Luke.
I don't understand people's...
I have seen worse.
Yeah.
This was fine.
We've seen worse from blockbuster Star Wars movies.
Yes. Rogue One. Just Leia, though.
Just Leia.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with the way that Luke looked. The way that his face melded into his hair was a little weird. But other than that, it's fine.
No,
Yeah.
it was perfectly fine. It was Mark Hamill doing the voice. It sounded like young Luke. It looked like young Luke.
Yeah.
He acted like young Luke, but we got a really badass version of young Luke.
Yeah.
So this is the one instance I was talking about where it is more fan service than it is
But
like it could have been literally any other Jedi.
Yes.
But
Because when I told you, when we had watched this episode, I stayed off Facebook all fucking day.
and who
day.
told you to stop scrolling when we were there?
I know.
Me.
I wasn't even on Facebook. I went to Instagram to just do one scroll through, and some jackass posted the picture of R2 and Luke, but not with the hood down. It was just with the hood up, with the green lightsaber. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I hope that's fake. And then we watched the episode, and when the X-Wing came in, I was like, nope, it's real. Like, I was so pissed off. Should it have been somebody else? Yeah, maybe. But is there a better teacher in this current timeline? No. So
Well, that's the thing.
it
Like,
makes sense that it's Luke.
it just lines up. It makes perfect sense because that's what he's doing at this time.
Yeah, he's trying to reestablish the Jedi Order.
Yeah, he's finding force sensitive beings.
Yeah.
So, like, honestly, I think it would. There would be so many people if it was somebody else. There'd be so many people being like, "Well, where's Luke? Like, why doesn't Luke show up?"
Where's Luke during all this?
Yeah. So
I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a problem with Luke being the one that showed up. I just feel like it could have been literally anybody.
like, I want this to be all that we do with that. I don't really think we need to see Luke more.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. I don't think that we need to see Luke more. I think it's fine.
Like, because, I don't know. Baby Yoda doesn't have to be at his side at all times. So, like, if Mando goes to visit or whatever, he doesn't have to be there.
Right.
I don't think. So,
No, it'll just be Mando, like, coming to, like, the Jedi Order daycare, and he's like, hey, where's Grogu? And he's like, oh, hey, Mando. He's like, talking and, like, doing all these, like, weird-ass motions so they can get their point across. The CGI is good. They're like, and he's like, he's over there, you know?
he's over there.
Yeah. But it's entirely CG. There's no stunt guy. They just deep fake over him. It's just an entirely CG Luke.
Oh god.
Looks
No.
like he has rubber arms.
Now, I've seen some pretty crazy deepfake stuff.
Yes, but I'll argue this point about it, where people said they're like, the deepfake looks better. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like 7 years after Return of the Jedi. Luke is not going to look exactly like he did 7 years ago.
Well, I think their problem with it was more like when he talked, the mouth was unnatural.
Yeah, which that's something that CG hasn't conquered yet.
But when
no
you
character looks good with
like,
CG
you could have had
now.
somebody mouth it and then deepfake them, couldn't you? I
don't know if that would not mesh well with the CG then.
Okay, I don't know. I just
because
I've seen some pretty crazy, like when they put Collider, I think it was, they put Leo in
oh yeah
in one of the Star Wars whatever, but I don't know.
But yeah, like with deepfake technology, yes, but you have to take existing images of a character at a certain point in time, and then the way the technology works, it uses that same image from different angles.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that I liked about the CG was it did make him look a little bit older.
Yeah. Okay.
He didn't look like Luke from Return of the Jedi. He looked like a slightly older version of Luke.
Yeah.
Which, when people were like, the deepfake's better, I'm like, no, it's not. It may look better, but it's not what it should be. And plus, he only says like 3 lines, and half of his dialogues, they're not actually on him.
No, I know.
They're not
it's a
tracked
very
on him.
Yeah. No, I'm not one of the people that is mad about it. It didn't bother me at all. But even like going back and watching it, well, when I watched it with you guys was the second time, and I watched it the third time with my sister. And I even tried to pick up on what they were bitching about.
Mm-hmm. No, it's people like
I can't really.
Whenever I see comments where they're like, the CGI was so bad, I was like, well, listen, Poindexter, hop on your computer and show me what you can do better. Like, if you're such a genius and such a critic, show me you can do better.
Yeah.
Show me somebody else who can do a better job than Disney and Lucasfilm.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when they go, the CGI was so bad, it's like, oh yeah, well, how about you contribute and make CGI better? Like, instead of sitting there bitching about it behind your keyboard, stuffing your face with Cheetos.
Yeah. No,
If any of you clowns are listening to this, I'm calling you out by name.
But we get our heartfelt goodbye with the Mandalorian and Grogu.
And R2.
And R2. And then
R2's the one that saved Grogu from...
Maybe.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
I think that's stupid.
He
couldn't have. No.
It was actually Mace Windu.
He's coming back. He's alive.
Yeah. But then we get a great after credit scene.
Yes, we do. We get one of the best after credit scenes ever.
I still need that picture on my wall.
Where Bib Fortuna is in Jabba's palace. He weighs like 400 pounds. His what are they? The mantrals?
Yeah.
Are like hanging down. Like you almost need like wires connected to the ceiling to hold them up. And he is sitting on a throne that he has placed on Jabba's big moving stone thing that he used to rest on.
Throne.
Yeah, but he has like a chair on his. Yeah, he has like a chair on it now that he's sitting on. Because Jabba didn't have that.
Oh right, yeah.
He just
Jabba
like
didn't
sat
have the chair.
on like the thing.
That's
so
right.
He put
that's
a
right.
throne in, and Fennec comes down the stairs, kills like 3 people. Who?
There's definitely not as many people here.
No, not as many as Jabba had because they were all killed.
Yeah,
in that horrible sail barge explosion. And Bib Fortuna's slave girl's trying to get away, and Fennec shoots her chain loose and tells her to get lost. And she's standing there with the gun tracked on Bib, and Boba comes down the stairs, and Bib is all surprised. He's like, "Oh, Boba, you survived!"
Boba!
Like, "Hey, buddy, like, I heard things that you had died or whatever." And then, without even missing a beat, he just takes his carbine out and blasts him in the face, and then just throws him off the throne. And Boba sits down. Fennec grabs herself a drink, and that's the last shot we have is a slow zoom out of Boba sitting on the throne. That is the book of Boba Fett.
Yep.
So we're going to get more Star Wars.
Yeah, and that's coming
December
2021.
Yep. So more Christmas time Star Wars.
And it's being shot before season 3.
That's good. That's good. It's supposed to be
so season 3 might not technically be until 2022.
I think they said it's going to be like January or February 2022.
Yeah.
But Book of Boba Fett is, I think they said it's a 4 or 5 part miniseries. It's just a 1-run thing.
So it's not even going to be 8 episodes?
I don't think. I think it's going to be like half.
Hopefully they'll be longer then.
Yeah, hopefully they're like an hour and a half long each.
Yeah.
Well, there it was.
We didn't rate that one.
We didn't rate that one.
Oh, well.
Are we just not?
8.5.
8.5.
8.5. Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm gonna go 9. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's not super high, but or it's not a 10, but I lost my shit when the next week showed up. I'm like sitting there at, what was it? Because we worked 5 o'clock that day, so I was up at 3:30. I think I was like, oh shit, it drops at 3 a.m. So I was like, I guess I'm watching that before I go to work. And boy, was I glad I did.
It was a good episode.
Yeah.
There were better ones, but this was a good finale.
Yep, it was good. And the whole series was good.
Yes.
Yes.
And now we all have to watch Mandalorian fight Bo-Katan for the Darksaber in season 3.
For an entire season.
Yeah. What if the whole
Just
season
tension
is like
building.
him trying to run away and Bo-Katan's like chasing him through the galaxy?
Chasing him through the galaxy, and then we get one episode where she tracks him down. She's like, no, we're gonna fight. And he's like, okay. And then each of them does like a Rocky montage thing. Like where they're each like training. Like Din's running up like a hill with like rocks on his shoulders or something.
He's gonna purposefully lose anyway, but
What if Mando, like, he's like, I'm not fighting you for this stupid fucking saber. And he just tries to leave it, like, on her ship all the time. And she's like, I can't take this.
What if he just like, it's just him leaving the saber like in different places for her to find, and each time she's like, no, and like throws it back at him, and then it's gonna be like at the end of the episode or the end of the season is gonna be him like on a cliffside somewhere, like holding the Darksaber, and he's just gonna go and just like throw it on like well then never mind, like guess no one's getting it.
Yeah.
okay. There we are. I hope you liked listening to our discussion. We sure enjoyed having it. This special iteration of Geek Tavern. We'll see you all next time for the main event.
Later.
McClunky.